Felicitations, malefactors, and welcome to the Pic-a-Flic podcast, a show where I, the Western Wonder, covers a variety of film and TV, both old and new, the best way that I know how. This week is looking to be an eventful time in the movie theaters as people are either A, watching Denzel Washington beat Denzel Washington while Paul Mescal takes on Pedro Pascal in the sequel to Gladiator, or B, watching Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo belt their hearts out in the film adaptation of Broadway's Wicked, or the special option, C, continuing the theme of Barbenheimer, doing a double feature for both of them. Well, that's not the case for me this week. In this episode, I'll be paying my respects and making a retrospective of one of my favorite movies from childhood. Now, when you think of the big three animated films that come out of the year 2004, these are the ones that usually come to mind. Shrek 2, The Incredibles, and of course, Home on the Range. I mean, this is peak Disney. I mean, memorable characters, memorable voice cast. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Of course, the third movie in question is none other than the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. Now, everyone should be familiar with the setup for the series, which was created by the late great animator and marine biologist Stephen Hillenburg. Upon its premiere 25 years ago...
Damn! I'm sorry.
The Quirky Yellow Guy was an instant hit with younger audiences on the Saturday morning block, and in fact got in a ratings war with another cartoon that also features a yellow character. You know, Pokemon, and has since become a staple of Nickelodeon's programming. And I don't mean this lightly. I remember the days when the schedule would be 80% Sponge, 15% shows created by He Who Shall Not Be Named, and 5% other stuff. So of course a movie would be propositioned by the network. However, Stephen Hillenburg was not interested in doing one at first.
Could we get a SpongeBob movie?
No.
Could we get a SpongeBob movie?
No.
Could we get a SpongeBob movie?
No.
Can't you say anything else but no?
Try asking again.
Could we please get a SpongeBob movie?
No.
But over time, Hillenburg would change his stance on this and begin working on a movie project, and made his directorial debut during the process. While a lot of the team from the series transferred over to work on the film while the ongoing third season of the show was coming to a close, and the series itself would effectively be put on hiatus to focus on the film. Originally meant to be the series finale, the SpongeBob movie would become a box office success, grossing over $140 million worldwide, but snubbed for Best Animated Feature at the Oscars over Shark Tale. Yes, I'm still miffed about this. The Nickelodeon network just couldn't let it go after promising returns, so a fourth season was commissioned, with Hillenburg becoming less involved as the show progressed. And now, in its 25th year, the show has produced 15 seasons and over 300 episodes, and has spawned several spin-offs, 2 movies with a third in the works, and even a Broadway musical which won a Tony Award. So with this in mind, let's take a retrospective look at the first and the best SpongeBob movie, and whether this holds up for me after my first rewatch for it in a while. Means be damned. The film opens with a live-action segment which takes place on an actual pirate ship, and these pirates, none of whom are a recurring series character Patchy the Pirate, which was bizarre to me even as a youngin', retrieves a treasure chest, and they find something amazing within it.
Where is it? It's right here, Captain. I never thought I'd see it with my own eye. Tickets to the SpongeBob movie!
A spirited take on the SpongeBob thing that we all know and love follows, giving you high energy immediately, and we're quickly sucked into the animated world of Bikini Bottom, which brings back the French narrator, as a conflict of interest is happening at the Krusty Krab, where a customer named Phil isn't satisfied with his Krabby Patty, and only SpongeBob can save the day.
You got a family, Phil? Come on, Phil, stay with me. Let's hear about that family.
I got a wife and 2 beautiful children.
That's what it's all about. I want you to do me a favor, Phil.
What?
Say cheese.
This turns out to be only a dream as SpongeBob wakes up and begins his daily manifesting that he's officially announced as the new manager for the new Krusty Krab restaurant. Why is there a spin-off restaurant in the first place? Well, I'll let Mr. Krabs answer that one for you.
Money!
I mean, if anybody's going to be manager of a new Krusty Krab, it's gotta be Sponge. His achievements are nothing short of awe-inspiring.
Who's it gonna be, Gary? Well, let's ask my wall of 374 consecutive Employee of the Month awards. SpongeBob SquarePants!
Wait, how many years has this dude been working for Krabs? Now here's the thing that's always bothered me. If SpongeBob would become manager of the second Krusty Krab, would that mean that he'd continue fry cooking duties at the OG location, or would Krabs hire a new one?
I guess we'll never know.
We then see SpongeBob get ready for his day in the form of humorous visual gags. For instance, he uses toothpaste to brush his eyes. Clearly he didn't learn from the episode where the whole town was revolted by his breath.
Excuse me, sir. I hope my horrible ugliness won't be a distraction to you.
Not at all, boy!
There's also a shot where SpongeBob's pants slip, exposing his bare butt cheeks for the whole world to see. Surely, this is the only instance of nakedness that happens in this film.
The lie detective determined that was a lie.
On his way to work, SpongeBob breaks into Scooper's house, surely the first sign of how stalkerish things would become of that relationship post-movie, and runs into Patrick, who shares an excitement in going into the Goofy Goober ice cream parlor later to celebrate when SpongeBob gets the manager's job.
Congratulations, buddy!
Oh, thanks, Patrick. And tonight, after my big promotion, we're gonna party till we're purple.
I love being purple!
You know what, Pat? Barney said the same thing in the previous decade, so this feeling isn't exactly new. Elsewhere, Mr. Krabs' #1 arch nemesis Plankton is lamenting the grand opening of his new business. And with the assistance of his computer wife Karen, he comes up with a new plan to overtake his rival, and the rest of the world at that. Will he succeed in his plan? Watch this space. But be sure to save some for Plankton so you don't end up aggressively stomping him the way SpongeBob does mid-gloating.
Promotion! I'm ready! Promotion! Ooh, I think I stepped in something.
Oh yeah, not even the yellow guy takes his world domination's plan seriously. Shades of Dr. Draken from Kim Possible felt here. Across the street, Mr. Krabs is about to make his official announcement of who will manage this new Krusty Krab business. We also get the only dialogue pieces from recurring characters such as Sandy and Mrs. Puff, which is a bit unfortunate considering that the former was meant to have a more pivotal role in the second half of the movie, but it was cut in the process. Now let's see who Krabs picks, shall we?
Yes, well, anyway. The new manager is a loyal, hard-working employee.
Yes,
The obvious choice for the job.
he's right.
A name you all know. It starts with an S.
That's me.
Please welcome our new manager, Squidward Tentacles.
SpongeBob celebrates his boss's announcement too early, causing an embarrassing scene for him when Krabs really sets the reality in his head.
Oh, for crying out loud, SpongeBob! You didn't get the job.
What?
You did not get the job.
But why?
SpongeBob, you're a great fry cook, but I gave the job to Squidward because being manager is a big responsibility. Well, let's face it, he's more, mature than you.
I'm not mature.
Lad, I mean this in the nicest of ways. But there's a word for what you are, and that word is, now let's see, dork? No, wait, that's not right. Not a dork,
A goofball?
closer, but no.
A ding-a-ling! Wingnut!
A knucklehead McSpazzatron!
Oi, you can't use that term in 2024, can ye?
Look, what I'm trying to say is, you're just a kid. And to be a manager, you have to be a man. Otherwise, they'd call it kidager. You understand, Didger? I mean, you understand?
I guess so, Mr. Krabs.
You know, it's definitely a slap in the face to give the manager slot to an employee who's made it known multiple times that he's absolutely miserable on most days when he's working, versus the employee who's devoted his job to satisfying customers on the daily. But on paper, I get it. If you have someone who acts like a kid managing a business, he won't be taken seriously, and furthermore, there wouldn't be conflict in the story, but still, it's messed up. SpongeBob, who's depleted by the news, leaves the scene, and it ends on an emotional note, or so we think.
Hooray for SpongeBob!
Good grief, he's naked!
Why is there so much nakedness here? Why is Patrick
double cheeked up on a Thursday afternoon, hella ass, the sun is still out.
Well, after that depressing scene, we're then introduced to King Neptune, voiced by Jeffrey Tambor, star of How the Grinch Stole Christmas, Muppets from Space, and The Muppets Wizard of Oz. Neptune's movie design has been greatly changed from his TV counterpart due to legal differences with dueling studios, so he loses his muscly physicality that dominated his TV appearance. He also has another issue that will be uncovered in a few. Anyways, Neptune and his daily royal task are frequently interfered with by his kind of precocious teenage daughter Mindy, voiced by Scarlett Johansson, star of the singing movies, who vies to be the queen of the sea one day. The king's ramblings distract him from the fact that his crown is being stolen by Plankton, causing him to spiral once the realization hits.
What the?
That's exactly how I felt watching the finale to the Penguin, so I know the king's pain here. Meanwhile, back at the Goofy Goober ice cream parlor, SpongeBob is venting about his day to Patrick, who, just like us, is surprised and disappointed that he didn't get promoted to a manager spot. So the duo takes their sorrows out on ice cream and gets sugar drunk in the process, eventually passing out while on stage with the Goofy Goober mascot.
Waiter, let's get another round over here. Oh, Mr. Waiter, 2 more, please. Woo! Waiter! Oh, waiter! Waiter!
Why do I always get the nuts?
The next morning, Mr. Krabs is hiking up the prices at the new Krusty Krab location because, well, it's Mr. Krabs. What else is new?
$101 for a Krabby Patty?
With cheese, Mr. Squidward, with cheese.
King Neptune, who is now wearing a paper bag over his head in place of his crown, pays a visit to the Krusty Krab and accuses Mr. Krabs of stealing his crown after receiving a note from him. And a very telling voicemail from a guy who claims to have received the crown comes in shortly after.
Ahoy! This is Eugene Krabs. Leave a message.
Hi, Mr. Krabs. This is Clay, the guy you sold Neptune's crown to. Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks again for selling me the crown, Neptune's crown. I sold it to a guy in Shell City, and I just wanted to say thanks again for selling me the crown, Neptune's crown. Which is now in Shell City. Goodbye.
Well, it was... don't you just hate wrong number?
In a fit of rage, Neptune is ready to set Mr. Krabs ablaze, but the crustacean is able to temporarily calm the waters by claiming that anyone could defend his character. And right on cue, here comes SpongeBob, still in an angry hungover state from the previous day's events, who attempts to defend his boss.
I have worked for Mr. Krabs for many years and always thought he was a great boss.
Until he remembers.
I now realize that he's a great big jerk! I deserve that manager's job! But you didn't give it to me, because you say I'm a kid! Well, I am 100% man! And this man has got something to say to you! There! I think I made my point.
Making his boss's case worse, Neptune powers up his pitchfork, setting poor Mr. Krabs on fire. Deserved. In the midst of chaos, it is nice of Old Man Krabs to mention his favorite Bruce Springsteen song during his moments of pain.
I'm on fire!
Underestimating the scale of the situation in Shell City, SpongeBob offers to set out on an adventure to recover Neptune's crown, but is dismissed by the king as he's just a kid. Sound familiar? And it is notoriously impossible to go to Shell City and come back safely. Oh, and he lets SpongeBob in that little secret of his, that issue that I referenced earlier.
My crown is a symbol of my king-like authority, and between you and me, my hair is thinning a bit.
Oh, Your Highness, I'm sure it's not that noticeable.
All right.
The thing is, the king doesn't actually look bad in bald form. But then again, if it causes permanent shiny blindness to everyone, yeah, it's probably best to get that crown back. It only takes his daughter to renege on the Sponge's offer, though.
Can't you get through one day without executing someone?
Mindy, I told you to stay in the carriage.
Where's your love and compassion? Look at this little guy. He's willing to risk his life to find your crown and save his boss.
But daughter,
Please, Father, at least let him try. What have you got to lose?
While also warning SpongeBob about the dangers of Shell City.
There's crooks, killers, and monsters everywhere. And what's worse, there's a giant cyclops who guards the outskirts of the city and preys on innocent sea creatures. Don't let him catch you, because if he does, he'll take you back to his lair and you'll never be seen again.
She's pretty, SpongeBob.
Here, take this.
What's in here?
It's a magical bag of winds. I stole them from my father.
You're hot.
Wait, Camp Patrick does not know anything about her. Just calm down for a bit. Neptune offers an ultimatum in the deal. SpongeBob must reclaim his crown within 9 days, or else he'll find his boss's remains splattered all over the Krusty Krab's walls. I don't remember him sounding that bloodthirsty as a kid. while Patrick, being Patrick, challenges this deal.
He can do it in 9, 8, 7, 6. 6 it is then.
In a world of optimistic SpongeBobs, please don't be a Patrick in this context. After the hubbub, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward. Great job picking him as your new manager, Krabs. SpongeBob and Patrick then set off for Show City.
Feast your eyes, Patrick.
What is it?
The Patty Wagon. Mr. Krabs uses it for promotional reasons. Let me show you some of its features. Sesame seed finish, steel-belted pickles, grilled leather interior, and under the hood, a fuel-injected French fryer with dual overhead grease traps.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
Hey, I thought you didn't have a driver's license.
You don't need a license to drive a sandwich.
After dealing with some obnoxious country bumpkin gas station employees.
Fill her up, please.
What'll it be, fellas? Mustard or ketchup?
Are they laughing at us?
No, Patrick. They're laughing next to us.
The duo gets their paddy wagon stolen, and once they find out that it takes a longer time to walk to Show City than drive, they have to get it back. Well, luckily for them, plot convenience comes in time, and the wagon is found near a tough guys club named the Thug Tug, whose musical theme is set to Motorhead, by the way. Great music choice.
Time to play the game!
While searching for the vehicle key, Sponge and Pat gets caught up in the restroom playing with Bubbles, which, side note, brilliantly contrasts in color compared to the tense and brooding atmosphere elsewhere in the club. Anyway, this bubble party affair greatly pisses off the leader of this club.
Hey! Who blew this bubble? You all know the rules.
All bubble-blowing babies will be beaten senseless by every able-bodied patron in the bar.
That's right! So who blew it? So, nobody knows.
Maybe it was...
Shut up!
The duo's attempts of sneaking out are noticed and they're forced to take a test to prove that they aren't babies. And the test is to try not to sing to the Goofy Goober theme tune. After a terrifying visual of Sponge and Pat struggling not to sing, a pair of conjoined twin brothers are able to beat them to the punch and, well, you know the mantra. Patrick in the process is able to get the key to their party car back, and their journey continues. But not before they stop for ice cream, after, mind you, driving through several fields of fish skeleton corpses. Back in Bikini Bottom, it's morning time and Squidward is grateful that his annoying neighbor isn't present to pester him, but notices something off when citizens start wearing what he calls horrible headgear from the chum bucket. After putting two and two together, Squidward finally puts on a brave face and trots off to confront Plankton.
You may have hoodwinked everyone else in this backwater town, but you can't fool me. I listen to public radio.
What's that supposed to mean?
It means you set up Mr. Krabs. You stole the crown so Neptune would freeze him and you could finally get your stubby little paws on the Krabby Patty formula. It was you all along, but you made one fatal mistake. You messed with my paycheck, and I'm gonna report you to the highest authority in the land, King Neptune.
We'll see about that, Inspector Loose Lips.
Unfortunately, Squid's bravery backfires as Plankton shows the true purpose of the helmets. Mind control devices used to make the townfolk his minions. Moments like this makes me wish that this was a proper finale, as this was the most intimidating that Plankton has ever appeared at this point in the SpongeBob timeline, but I digress. Back to our heroic heroes. That ice cream booth that we were talking about turns out to be a setup by this humongous anglerfish that puts the Finding Nemo design to shame. And while they're able to evade the threat, they once again lose their patty vehicle. This time for good when the anglerfish who ate their car is eaten by a much larger sea eel. This is the circle of life that the Lion King was singing about, huh? Their shock, which spawned a meme life of his own from Patrick's face, sets in when they realize a gap in the trench, which leads to SpongeBob quitting and starting his trek back home, despite Patrick's attempts at motivating him.
We're not kids.
Open your eyes, Patrick! We blow bubbles, we eat ice cream, we worship a dancing peanut for corn's sake! We don't belong out here!
We do not worship him.
Patrick, you've been wearing the same Goofy Goober peanut party underpants for 3 years straight! What do you call that?
Worship? Oh, you're right, SpongeBob. We are kids.
Before the sponge can make another step, Princess Minnie then comes to the rescue, which leads to this reaction from Patrick.
Me
Mindy!
How much did you hear?
I heard enough.
Did you see my underwear?
No, Patrick.
Did you want to?
No, wait, Kendrick. He didn't mean it like that. Seems like this just makes it real difficult to defend this guy. The princess is there to remind them of why it's important to continue on their journey by showing them Plankton's take over the town, and how everyone they know has been affected by his mind control device. When SpongeBob questions Neptune's whereabouts, Mindy tells him that he's too busy with things that could affect the townsfolk of Bikini Bottom even further, like, I don't know, his balding issue? After an unsuccessful attempt of giving the duo confidence in a lengthy segment with them doing nothing but crying on the ground, she decides to patch up some seaweed to resemble mustaches, and gives them hope by converting them into men. Not really. This does the trick, however, and Sponge and Pat run deep into the trenches, instead of taking the stairs, and immediately dies on their way down. Now, I'm kidding, of course. But had this not been the main character, they definitely would have been cooked here. What precedes is one of the best scenes in this entire film. The first big musical number, Now That We're Men. And watching this scene back gave me some newfound respect to the animators for going hard with the backgrounds and other visual details, especially for the monsters who briefly accompanied the duo at the end of this number. Our chances of hearing the final verse of the song is thwarted when a new challenger approaches in the form of Dennis, voiced by Alec Baldwin, star of the live-action Cat in the Hat, Madagascar 2, and The Boss Baby, an assassin hired by Plankton to take out SpongeBob and Patrick. So Dennis, in my eyes, is kind of the Beetlejuice of this movie. When I was younger, I thought that these characters had more screen time, but in actuality, their on-screen presence is very limited. And Dennis's first encounter with Sponge and Pat is the epitome of that, as he's taken out by a menacing diver's boot within a minute of him showing up. The diver, who's referred to as the Cyclops, who is the first live-action element since the opening sequence, chases the duo down and succeeds in capturing them, and the scene fades to black as the musical score ends in a dramatic flourish. Sponge and Pat find themselves in a gift shop where they find out that Shell City is the name of the shop. The horror of their fate settle in when they realize that the other sea creatures have been dried up and sold as knickknacks, which, from their angles, I'm sure is very terrifying to see visually. I'm also curious to know which relatives of the prominent characters were sold here. Sponge and Pat find themselves put under a hot lamp to be dried out in what perceives as the most emotional sequence of the movie, where SpongeBob comes to terms with his self-acceptance and, despite earlier concerns of disappointing his folks back at home, he actually did make it to Shell City with his best friend.
Pat, we did make it.
Yeah, I guess we did.
We did all right for a couple of goofballs. I'm a goofy goober, yeah. You're a goofy goober, yeah. We're all goofy goobers, yeah. And in those final heartbreaking moments, the tears of both SpongeBob and Patrick forms a heart, and that concludes the final chapter of our heroic duo. Now cut to an audio of me crying like those pirates in the theater.
Oh my god!
But alas, their tears are able to cause the short lamp's plug and activates a nearby sprinkler, bringing back our heroes to life. In fact, the sprinklers are so strong that it miraculously revives all the sea creatures in the shop, who proceed to kick the Cyclops' ass. Deserved. Once they get out of the gift shop, they take out the magical bag of winds that Princess Minnie gave them earlier in the film, but Patrick, being Patrick, accidentally sets it off prematurely, leaving them with nowhere to travel. But have no fear, as here comes David Hasselhoff, the guy who did a theme song for the beloved children's show Pingu. Oh, he was in Baywatch too, hence the shirtless Beachbody aesthetic. Certain shots of Hasselhoff underwater were actually done with a wax model, which is a spitting image of Hasselhoff's look. Now see, this is the crew that Dwayne Wade should have called for his statue. Now during their travel to Bikini Bottom, things start heating up at the Krusty Krab. Or does it? King Neptune returns as it's the final day of the deal and still no crown has showed up, which leads Minnie to annoy her father with her stalling tactics to kill time. Back on the Hasselhoff Express, the Cyclops' boot appears again and somehow Dennis returns, still attached to the boot. I don't know how he possibly stuck on that long, but okay, we're gonna go with it for the story. SpongeBob is able to escape his clutches by jumping across Hasselhoff's legs in a heroic move, but as this is part of an human body, Dennis is already waiting for him on the other side. But luckily for SpongeBob, after spraying bubbles in Dennis's eyes, his foe is smacked away again, this time by a boat, and he's never seen again. I'm sure he'll be alright though. With the power of the Hasselhoffian pecs, SpongeBob and Patrick are launched to Bikini Bottom and crash straight through the Krusty Krab, deflecting Neptune's pitchfork shot. And while Krabs got saved in the nick of time, poor Hasselhoff gets the brunt of the fire.
You done good, Hasselhoff. You done. Ow.
Once again, the theme of premature celebrations, an embrace shared between SpongeBob, Patrick, and Mindy, who somehow bypassed the lock her father started the door earlier. Plankton interrupts the protagonist's victory hug by reactivating the mind control helmets. And this time, King Neptune gets caught in the crossfire.
Sorry to rain on your parade, Plankton.
Oh, don't worry about me. My parade shall be quite dry under my umbrella!
Umbrella?
Daddy, no!
Daddy, yes!
When Patrick asks what happened, SpongeBob simply responds by saying that
Plankton cheated.
Cheated? Hold on there, Baldy. Oh, grow up. What, you think this is a game of kickball on the playground? You never had a chance to defeat me, fool! And you know why?
Because you cheated?
No, not because I cheated, because I'm an evil genius. And you're just a kid. A stupid kid.
This leads to the final speech in the movie from our heroic lead.
I've been through a lot in the past 6 days, 5 minutes, 27.5 seconds. And if I've learned anything during that time, it's that you are who you are.
That's right. Okay, Neptune.
And no amount of mermaid magic, or managerial promotion, or some other third thing can make me anything more than what I really am inside. A kid.
That's great. Now get back against the wall.
But that's okay!
What? What's going on?
'Cause I did what everyone said a kid couldn't do. I made it to Shell City, and I beat the Cyclops, and I rode the Hasselhoff, and I brought the crown back!
Surely there can't be another musical number that wraps this movie up in an epic way, can there?
Take it easy! What the scallop?
I'm a goofy goober! You're a goofy goober!
Goofy Goober Rock, based off of Twisted Sister's I Wanna Rock, brings even more over-the-top visual gags to the table in a fun way. First, SpongeBob having his Prince Hendrix guitar solo moment, and Patrick channeling his inner video vixen, fishnets and all. And this song is still a banger.
To this day! To this day!
The movie finally comes to a close. SpongeBob's guitar solo beings are able to break Plankton's mind control helmets, freeing the Bikini Bottom denizens. What do you know, instead of beating on parking meters, the police actually do their job and arrest Plankton, and King Neptune unfreezes Mr. Krabs. But not before having a callback to Pinocchio by accidentally converting him into a real boy. Soon after, the differences between boss and employee are settled as SpongeBob's offered the manager spot at the Krusty Krab number 2, but not before one final moment of reflection from the sponge.
Wait a second, everybody. There's something I need to say first. I just don't know how to put it.
I think I know what it is. After going on your life-changing journey, you now realize you don't want what you thought you wanted. What you really wanted was inside you all along.
Are you crazy? I was just gonna tell you that your fly is down. Manager, this is the greatest day of my life!
And that concludes the movie. A post-credits scene also brings us back to the movie theater with those pirates again, who stayed until the very end, and is politely asked by the usherette to leave as the movie is truly over. So, on the Pic-a-Flic rating scale, this original SpongeBob movie is gonna get, and this should come as no surprise, a 5 out of 5 popcorn buckets. A lot of things still holds up for it since I watched it for the first time in my youth. The animation is still lively and eclectic, the voice acting elevates key moments here, and the humor is still strong. I mean, the quotables still hold up for a reason after all. And the vibe for the movie in general is difficult to be replicated with, as evidenced with the follow-up SpongeBob movies. And I do say this as someone who did like the sequel, Sponge Out of Water. Plot conveniences aside, if there was one thing I'd wanted to see more of in this film, it definitely would have been more screen time for prominent recurring characters from the show. Squidward and Sandy in particular. A team up, something that wouldn't be exploited to the sequel, could have been interesting. Nonetheless, this is going to be a great piece of animated cinema that will be remembered for many generations to come. And that will be a wrap on this retrospective for the original SpongeBob movie. Next up on the Pic-a-Flic review docket, the first episode of the upcoming Netflix limited series, The Madness, starring Oscar nominee Coleman Domingo, will be covered, and I will be dropping 2 additional reviews in the month of December, including one previously scheduled discussion. So, if you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to be the first to get notifications on when new reviews drop, be sure to subscribe to the pod wherever you listen to said shows, and tell a friend to tell another friend to check out the pod. Also, if you want to follow the show on social media, we can be found on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok under the username handle at Pic-a-Flic-Pod. That is at PICAFLICPOD. If review logging is your thing, then you may be familiar with the platform Letterboxd, where you also can find non-audio exclusive reviews I do under the aforementioned Pic-a-Flic-Pod username. Coming up, I plan to put out Letterboxd only reviews for some buzzed about films from this year, including Sing Sing, The Apprentice, Strange Darling, and Dune Part 2. So be sure to be on the lookout for those reviews. Once again, thank you all for tuning into this review, and I hope you enjoyed your stay here on the Pic-a-Flic podcast. And until the next one, this is the Western Wonder, and I'm signing out. Be sure to stay tuned for my podcast sponsor at the end of this episode. Peace out.
Bye, have a great time.